Yo, 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 good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining me, and much shout out to Brother Jez joining today. We are back in the building. How you doing, brother?
All good, mate. All good. Yeah, it's been a funny day today over here. Weather is awful. It's getting real cold now. I proper hate the cold, but yeah, we're into winter time. Winter mode is here. Heating is on, and yeah, it is what it is, mate.
Over here, man, it is hot. It is a scorcher. I think today it is 85,
Nice.
85 degrees in November. So go figure. We had a little bit of cold last week, and it just moved on, but it is definitely hot here. That's why I've got on sleeves like this because it's actually steaming. Shout out to the chat. Oregon is in the building. What's going on, brother? Good to see you, my friend. The master Carl Rossi is in the building as well. Unique, what's going on, brother? I'm not going to try to figure out this one out. I guess I'll take the C off in Zerway. Zerwick 04, yep, in the building. We've got Eli in the building. Lenny, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, my friend. Assemble, always in the building. Wolf Fang, what's going on? What's going on? And Namsa is in the building. Says even the gents, that was a lucky win last night. They have to do more before I say we are going places. And I guess, Jez, we can go ahead and park the bus right there. No pun intended. And we can talk about last night's win. Thought there was still a few problems there that still need to be addressed. That is, you kind of have to put last night's game into context. A lot of fans this morning were. It's kind of funny when you watch how a fan base works, where a win just erases everything that has happened. It doesn't matter how the win comes. If you win, it's just all is well. This is great. Let's move on. When I go into a game, I look to see if we've improved on things from prior games. What I saw yesterday was, and this is just me, I saw a team that we struggled there to score goals. We have a really massive problem here trying to go forward and score goals. I mean, Trossard did score. Saka got in on it as well, but we just don't look good going forward, Jez. And when you play a team that only had one shot on goal, you've got to put the game into context. So, brother, what did you make of last night?
Well, the thing is, Matty, when you're playing with 10 men, it's hard. I've been saying this for a while now. Havertz is just not the levels for the Premier League. He may have been great in the Bundesliga, which, yeah, that's why Chelsea bought him. But his only claim to fame was he won the winning goal in the Champions League final for Chelsea. And that's it. You talk to Chelsea fans, yeah, and I know quite a few that I have a drink with occasionally, and they all said, why have you bought him? But thanks for the 65 million. The guy is an absolute waste of space. So all the time we're up against teams with 10 men, right, then we're going to struggle. We don't have an out-and-out striker, something we've all been calling for, you included, for 2.5, maybe 3 years now. Since we lost to Aubameyang, lack of threat, right, we never replaced Aubameyang with a top quality striker that's going to get you the 20 to 25 goals a season you need, with the others chipping in, right? The likes of Martinelli, Trossard, Saka. Last season we had Odegaard bang a few in, and we even had Xhaka. We're not getting that from Jorginho, and we're not getting that from Havertz. So who are we going to rely on, Matt, to get the goals? Well, we have to rely on when he's playing. I mean, it's interesting. He wasn't even on the bench last night with Nketiah. Hat-trick, brilliant. One game. That's his game of the season, and that's all we'll probably ever see of him this year, right? But the fact is, we don't have that impetus up front where we take teams apart. And, yeah, jump in there, man.
I just I was going to ask you, what you make of Eddie Nketiah sitting out yesterday? Because it's fun. Have you noticed that this year? Players, you see them and then all of a sudden they're gone. It just all of a sudden they just vanished. And it's like he if someone has a stinker, he pulls them out, he hides, he tucks them away. It's like the Odegaard deal. For they say Odegaard's injured. I just find it ironic that he's injured coming off of his performances. Likewise, this past weekend. If any game Eddie Nketiah should have played in, it should have been last night because he might have could have scored a goal or two last night, considering how bad the opposition was. But you see this pick and pull thing that Arteta's doing this year with players. What do you make of that last night?
Well, I find it interesting that I've not seen any reports that of any issues with Nketiah, where they didn't make any mention of the fact injury, no mention of illness, no mention of personal issues. These things happen. It was just he wasn't there. He's sort of gone. Now, is this another infraction by Arteta, like he's done with Thomas Partey? And I don't get this one. I'm sure we can talk about it later in the show about Thomas Partey, but this is just what I find wrong with Arteta, that he is arrogant. He talks absolute waffle in his press conferences. He never gives you the truth. He skirts around the edges, and the best place for Arteta would be in politics.
Yeah, that would actually suit him correct. That was embarrassing this weekend.
He's a fraud, a liar, wants to cheat all the time, cries when it doesn't go in his favour, and I'm sorry, I've called this guy out for 4 years, and it's coming up for 4 years. We've had this bloody clown
in 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. And what have we done? Nothing. Spent a load of money, mate. But it mystifies me. I'd love to be a fly on the wall to actually listen to what is going down at this club, because Partey disappears. He got rid of Guendouzi for a minor misdemeanor. Really, it wasn't that bad. Yeah, it was. It was naivety to do that. But we've seen worse. And out that a player that I rate as a decent player, and he's gone. And all we ever see, Matt, is his arrogance and the way he treats players. And if the problem is that this is a good point. This is a good point. People are calling out for Ivan Toney to come to Arsenal. I'm sure with the money, if we pay the money, he'll come.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Could Arteta handle him? No.
Nah.
He's got a very strong personality, and unless you're a yes boy, right, and you're going to bend over for Arteta, you're not going to get in. Would Arteta take Toney because he knows he's got a strong will, he's got a strong personality? No. Personally. And I think that would be a major problem. I mean, that game last night, Matt, right? That was a B team Sevilla.
I don't even know if it was B team last night. I think it was Q. They were so far down the totem pole last night, Jez. That was probably one of the most anemic.
Yeah.
Dare I say that team looked like what we looked like this past weekend, last night.
The difference is, right, we got away with that last night. 2 lovely goals. They were really class goals. But our midfield with Jorginho, Havertz. I mean, I would rather, right? I said the other night on Lee's show with Kenny, I'd rather him stick Havertz up front, out of the way.
Well, I said that earlier. I said that earlier this season. Lee asked me, he was like, "Well, what was his favorite? What's his best position?" I said, "Put him at center forward. He stays out of people's way." And all he has to do is just run. He does it already. Just run around. Because when he gets into the attack, it messes. He slows stuff down. We balls turn over. It's complete chaos once he gets into the midfield.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't bring anything to the party. All he does is he's slow, sideways, backwards, sideways, backwards. There was a classic point last night, right? We're on the break. Arsenal on the break, yeah? He gets the ball, and his pass out to Saka was absolutely shocking. It was 10 yards in front of Saka. He couldn't make a weighted pass to 2 or 3 yards in front of him. He can run onto it. So Saka's given it 100 miles an hour down that right wing. He's never going to get on that ball. It goes out for a goal kick. And this is somebody, a midfielder, supposedly. We spent £65 million and he can't put a ball on a player's toe, to exaggerate the point. That is not good enough. People like that are not welcome at Arsenal Football Club. We need incisive, commanding figures in midfield. And we have one in Rice. We have, I don't know whether we'll ever see him again, I don't know, Partey. Partey and Rice had a great link-up.
Yep, they sure did.
They made it difficult for opposing midfields and attack. Because, you know, the physicality of Partey, his ability to pass a ball and his tackles in midfield, it was difficult for opponents. Look at it last season when we were playing some brilliant, brilliant football. His contribution before he got injured, and I know this is a problem, he is injury prone, but is that always down to the player? He never used to get injured before he came to Arsenal.
He never been injured. You know, he played all those years at Athletic, and you didn't hear anything about he was out in an extended period.
Exactly. So what does that tell you? And we have continual players. Tierney, I know when he came from Celtic, he did have a bit of a record for it, but we continually have these players out. But I still question, Matty, I still question what happened with Eddie Nketiah. No mention of anything. Not on the bench, not even at the grounds. Very strange. Very, very strange. What's going on with that one? Has it come that Arteta said to him after that hat-trick you scored, and then you played it this weekend against Newcastle, and he was crap, absolute rubbish. Has he run out of time with him? I doubt it, but something's not right. Something is badly, badly wrong at Arsenal Football Club.
Yep. The symbol says he was responding, but I wanted to bring this up. He says, I've already seen a report that Arsenal will go for Tony in the summer. We never seem to do what is required to get over the line. This is the way I would approach going into the transfer window if we were serious. Because let's just call a spade a spade. Jess, let's me and you, we both rational individuals. Let's look at this for what it is. We have to actually take into account where we are when the transfer window opens. We have to take into account where we are. Are we still challenging? See, people not even thinking about all this stuff because we still have got to get through December. We got to get through December, and then we've got to see where we are. We've got to assess the squad. We know who needs to go. We know who needs to go. Are they going to put them on their merry way? The whole discussion about money for Tony, we've got players to sell that we can make up this difference. I know this financial fair play is lurking around, which is another discussion that we would have to have on another day about how they botched that up by all these ridiculous signings. But the money's there. We know the money's there. If you got $65 million to spend on Havertz, then surely you've got an extra 40 to go with that to get this gentleman here in. So we've got to look at all this. Everything's in play. Do I think we're going to get Ivan Toney? I would like to get Ivan Toney, but knowing this regime, how many times have we been in this situation, James, where we just was in it in January, where we know we needed some quality players just to get over the line. That was just, and we were in position to win the league, and we did not go out and do that. Instead, we ended up going out with Jorginho. We all saw how this has worked out. Do you really think that this regime is going to look at this thing, Jez, and say, you know what? We need a striker. He's available. Let's go in for him. And like you stated earlier, this is a player who we everybody on the planet knows he has a very strong personality. And I just, me personally, I don't know if I see it happening. I'm scared to say this because I can see it happening. I could actually see Spurs going in for him.
Mm. I totally agree with that. You're quite right about will we spend the money? Well, the old adage argument, oh, we haven't got the money. Yes, we have got the money. It's quite proven. The Cronkies have supplied every penny that Edu and Arteta have asked for. The bench, the board have released those funds. We just have to question the levels of the players that we've bought. That is the major problem. Will we go and buy Tony? I don't know. Because at the end of the day, the person that has to say, or one of the people, is Arteta. And if Arteta thinks that guy's going to challenge me, or maybe he won't like my regime, then he's not going to buy him. Because it's quite clear that Arteta doesn't want strong characters in his squad. And he's proven it time in and time out. He's been here for nearly 4 years. And the fact that he's got rid of players that will challenge. And I was watching a show last night, and there were some great comments in that show. Has Arteta started to lose the players? Wouldn't be at all surprised.
I brought that up a couple of weeks ago to me and Darren. Shout out Darren's in the chat, and Warren. I've talked to both of them in the last couple of weeks, and I told him, I said, don't be surprised if the player starts turning on this man. Me personally, Declan Rice is going to be the first one. Declan Rice will be the first man to turn, because this man is coming from a team where they literally had to fight tooth and claw to win whatever they could win last year, and then you come into a situation coming off of a European Cup, you come into a team, and we all know the shithousery that Arteta tells players. He sells them up a river. He sells them, the snake oil salesman. He comes over here, and then he looks around and he's like this. He looks at Havertz and Jorginho. This is what I got to work with. And I watched him last night. I don't know if you watched him, but did you see last night? He was he's running all over the place like he was Saturday. He's doing all of the work because he's got to try to make up for what we don't have in midfield. In this manager, consistently, he gets what we don't need, and then we find ourselves short. Just me and you, we've been doing this together for 2 years. Me and you both been doing this for 2 years. How is it that we went through about 4, 5, 6 transfer windows, and we've sat right here in every window? Me and you have to come back, and we have to go, Jez, you know what? We're still a few players short. We're still a few players short. Hey, we got January. We never go out and go to the grocery store and get what we need. We're always longing for what we need.
Well, I was chatting to my wife after the game last night, and my wife hates football. She's got no time for it at all. Fair play, I respect that. And I said to her, do you know what Arsenal do? They'll go to the supermarket, right? And I compared this with your Thanksgivings, right? And I said, they go to the supermarket, they get all the vegetables and everything, but they don't buy the turkey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is Arsenal Football Club. And the thing is, Matt, it's pretty much been the same for years and years and years. The only time it ever changed, right, was in the very early days of Arsene Wenger.
Yeah.
Because he had an attraction to players from France. And we know that we used to go into that French market and take out the best. And, the players we got made an incredible football team.
Yep.
But we just, for some reason, I don't get this link up. We seem to have to look to Chelsea and buy their players that are starting to come to the end of their careers. And that's not the case with Havertz. He's 24. He's 24.
I mean, Jazz, the way he looks like a player that's like 37. You know, you get ready to wind down. They wind it down. You know, get ready to head to the house. He's supposed to be in his football in prime. He's supposed to be at the top of his game.
Yeah, I mean, I when I watched that first attempt, first couple of minutes, that header, right? He tried to head it. I mean, what the hell does he not have the sixth sense of where the goal is? He nutted that 4 yards wide.
Yeah. Do you see his face during the games? Have you noticed his facial expressions? He acts like he doesn't even know where he's at. He's unsure of himself. And I said this. You remember, DJ? I don't know if you remember me saying this last year when we did our transfer show. Do you remember me saying that $65 million is going to wear on him? And if we would have paid him maybe $6 million for him, he might be performing. But when you put a $65 million tag on a player who really hadn't done anything, psychologically he's feeling like, oh, I've got to, you've psychologically screwed him, and he's been screwed.
That's a good comment. That's a very good point, actually. Maybe he is feeling the pressure, but then somebody needs to have a little chat with him. And I said this on a show. I can't remember what it was. It was weekend or whenever it was. You tell me one player that has come to this football club and Arteta has improved. I can't see one.
If anybody regressed.
That's not having a pop. What that tells me is that this manager doesn't have the ability to actually help players maybe mentally, boost their confidence, improve their playing style. And we've had managers in the past that were very good at that. Jules Graham was one classic manager who was excellent at that sort of thing. He was a tactician. Arsene Wenger, fantastic, talking mentally to players, boosting their confidence, right? And to a point, Unai Emery, encouraged the youngsters to come through, and help them. I'm not seeing that with this manager. I'm not seeing that. He had a couple of youngsters on the bench last night, Why not for the last 5? Just throw them on. Give them some experience.
Yep.
Get the experience of playing in a big match in the European Cup.
Yeah.
This is what it's about, boys. This is what you're going to face one day. Yeah. Now I'll get the point of why he may have taken off Tomiyasu, right? I think tactically Arteta may have looked at himself and said, "They're no threat. They're no threat to us tonight. The defence haven't got a lot to do, so we'll bring on Zinchenko, give him a run out, let him have a go." And that may have been a good tactic, because Zinchenko could go up front. He nearly scored a great goal, let's be fair, with his volley kick. But, why, Matty, why did he keep on Saka? 2-0, game is practically done. At that point, they've not had a shot on target the whole game, right? 2-0 up, take him off.
Yeah.
No. Held him on, gets injured, trainer comes on, physio comes on, sorts him out. 5 minutes later, he's down, he's limping off the park.
Yeah.
That's pure arrogance, man.
He's tone deaf.
Arrogance.
He's tone deaf. Our manager is tone deaf. He does not understand situations. It's like you said, 2-0 against a team that one shot on goal. They pose no threat. Get the youngsters on. Let's get ready for the weekend. We gotta get a big win before we get ready to head off for this stupid international break. He can rest over the break. I'm gonna put a phone call in to Gareth Southgate. Hey, sit him down. Instead, injured, holding ankle. Same ankle, Jazz, by the way, that's been injured. That was injured a couple weeks ago. And I have had the theory that his poor play has been due in part to he's already playing injured. Because remember, he got injured. He had to come back and play. And the manager just keeps playing him. Just keeps playing him. That's another
injury last season.
Yeah, the season before that. This is the same leg over and over that we're having a problem with. This guy might not make it to 27, as a footballer at this rate. He's tone deaf. Arteta is tone deaf. Now, Jez, I want to hit on. So I took a note down here. Why does this guy not play? Why does he refuse to play Zinchenko in midfield? I mean, me and Lee talked last night after my fan count, and I told him, I said, Lee, why wouldn't this man play Zinchenko in midfield so that he could I just feel like his long game is not as good, but his short game is exactly what we need. We don't have any short game. I mean, Kai Havertz can't move the ball, pass and move. I mean, why would this? He clearly this manager just he wants to try everything else, but would try the right stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you on that. I mean, when he came on yesterday to replace Tomiyasu, right? He was looking dangerous. All right, okay. Sevilla were a poor team. Yeah, but Zinchenko, in my belief, does far better in midfield, where he was being played by Pep Guardiola when he did play. Yeah. Then we've got Tomiyasu who can play at that position, right? He can play left back. So bin off Havertz, bring on Zinchenko and release Partey from prison. And then you've got a midfield, man. I mean, you can even bring on El Neni. Now, I know he's not a world beater, but El Neni does a job. Yep. He doesn't complain. He just comes on. He's not dynamic, but he can pass the ball. He can tackle, and he's steady. I was going to say steady Eddie then, but he's steady. Right? And that's all you need at times. It's somebody that's just not going to be anything clever. He's not going to do anything silly. He's just going to do his job and get on with it, man. And Genesis football, yeah. Yeah.
Carl, I appreciate you, brother. I already saw you already got rid of took the rubbish, took the trash out to the trash heap. Appreciate that, brother.
I just funny about those people. Right, they'll accept the narrative, but they don't have the brain to actually analyze what's going on in this club, because they'll just follow what's being said, man. So
yeah,
anyway, there you go.
Yeah. Unique. I think we kind of summed up a little bit there, but I tell you, with this party thing, let me throw this out. This and Tony Clark, shout out Tony Clark Gunner. He brought this up to me the other day. I totally forgot about it. You do realize that he's out. And then when he comes back, he's going straight to Africa.
I haven't heard that he's actually injured.
Oh, that's the rumor I heard. But what I'm saying is, even if he was to come back, we're not going to see him anytime soon. I don't even know if we'll see him for the rest of this year, Jess.
Well, if he comes back in January, man, he's off to the AFCON.
Yep.
So, and in that time, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he's on the transfer market.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the club, and I respect what Unique's saying. I haven't seen the club announce make an official announcement. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I have not seen the club actually make a statement and say he's injured. I haven't seen that, but I could well be wrong.
Yeah.
But if anybody knows in the chat, please let me know. Tell me, because I haven't heard it, and I'm being genuine with that comment. I have not heard that. So, I don't know. I just think it's something more than that, personally.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about something here. There's a pattern that I've started to notice. Excuse me, the sun's starting to go down over here. there's a pattern that I've noticed. We play teams like this, like Sevilla. We blow them away. We beat Sheffield United. Blow them away. We beat the low of the low. We blow them away. And the minute we run up on a team like Newcastle, Chelsea, Tottenham, we this is a reoccurring pattern that I've noticed under this team. Is we'll blow the lowest of the low away most times. Most times. I want to preface that. Most times. But when it counts, like this past Saturday, we shrivel up. What do you make of that, Jez?
Well, the Newcastle game, I actually thought for a period of time there was two teams there that were negating each other. Neither Newcastle or Arsenal, in my opinion, playing very well. And it was a bit of a tit for tat. But, they got their goal. I mean, we can talk about that for as long as the cows come home. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But the fact remains, it is what it is. Whether VAR made a mistake, I don't know. Was it a foul? Well, you could argue yes. Was there an offside? I couldn't see an offside personally. There are after the event pictures of that. Not the whole of the ball was not out of play, therefore it's in play. But they got their goal, we didn't, because we weren't good enough. And the fact is, we didn't have anybody up front that day that was on form. Nketiah was awful, right? But he kept him there, okay. And if you haven't got a good midfield, I mean, their midfield, to be fair, wasn't great either. They had a couple of players out that could have caused us big issues. When I watched that game, I thought, well, we might nick this and come away with a point. We didn't, but I did call it. I did say in the week it's going to be a tough day out against this Newcastle team. They're getting better and better and better. And we have to realise that Arsenal, we get away with it at certain times. But interestingly, we play Burnley this weekend, yeah? You know how they're going to be set up because they're going to come, park the bus, they're going to play the long ball as they do, and wouldn't be at all surprised if he puts out that same bloody midfield, right? Which I find it hard to call it a midfield, Matt.
It's just pieced together.
It's just a load of crap, to be honest. The only decent player in there is Declan Rice, and I give him high marks most weeks of recent times because he's the only one who's actually doing any work. He must come off that park after 90 minutes, absolutely knackered. I would happily see on this weekend, right, in midfield, I'm talking midfield here, Rice, Zinchenko, and ESR.
Yeah.
Basically. At least you've got some impetus there, right? You've got something that's actually going to try and strive forward. And let's be honest, Burnley are a very poor team, but they are also the sort of team that can cause you a problem because their manager is going to set it up that they're going to try and catch us. Now, at the moment, our defence is performing very well in Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel. I'd have Tomiyasu back at left back again. He's physically there. He doesn't get bullied easily, and he overlaps, causes problems, supports Martinelli down on the left. So that, to me, is the ideal setup. Then up front, go with what you want. If Saka's injured, okay. Trossard, Martinelli, Trossard, Martinelli, Trossard. Stick Havertz in there, out of the way.
Yep.
If he gets a poacher's chance, which he probably will, he'll cock it up, probably, but he's not causing dramas in midfield. We've had crap strikers in the past, right? dare I say it, Bentner, Shamak.
Yeah.
Certain players, absolute rubbish players, but they're out the way, man. They're out the way. So stay up front. Don't come beyond midfield. Stay there. If you get a through ball, if you get the opportunity, if you slot it, brilliant. The only problem with Matt, that is, if Havertz scores a worldie, oh dear God, that means all the Arteta sexuals. Ooh,
He'll get an 8-year. He'll get an 8-year extension if he scores a goal. Jazz, let's go to the goalkeeper. Let's go to the goalkeeper. He's been this situation this season. I wanted the order. We should have never got rid of Martinez, and I'm gonna keep saying that over and over. Should have never got rid of him.
no.
Jazz, I'll throw this stat at you. You probably heard me say it already, but I'll say it again. 6 goalkeepers in 4 years. At a top flight club. That's crazy, ain't it? 6 goalkeepers in 4 years under one manager. That in itself is, depending on who you would talk to, would almost be sackable in certain circles. That you went to the well that many times to find a goalkeeper. Jazz, this Raya and Ramsdale situation here, it's going to be until he comes out definitely and says what he wants. This is going to be a recurring theme all season long. There were people calling for Ramsdale yesterday, and he didn't pick him, which therefore, you have to kind of start looking sideways and like, okay, now this, if you hadn't picked him for this, is this who you're going to go with for the remainder of the year? And just Ramsdale was going to only be cups, because now the cups are starting to dry up. And so now that's going to be less opportunity. And my thing is that if you're not going to use Ramsdale, get the 30 or 40 million for him and move on and get somebody else in and take that money and let's do something different. What's your thoughts, brother?
Well, it's a crazy situation, and this again makes me question the levels of what Arteta's management abilities are. I don't remember a club having 6 goalkeepers in that period in 4 years. Normally, when you get a decent goalkeeper, they're with you 5, 6, 7 years. Some of the goalkeepers we've had in John Lukic, David Seaman, Jens Lehmann,
yep.
Top goalkeepers, but we weren't pontificating and piss-arsing around. They were there. And this is going to get ugly between these 2 goalkeepers, right? Because all the time this is going on, Matt, it's underwhelming their confidence, especially Ramsdale. I looked at Ramsdale the other game. When did he last play? And he looked so lacking. I thought, whoa, this is not the player I used to see, or I've been used to seeing. I mean, fair play to David Raya yesterday. He hadn't done absolutely anything in that game. That 96th minute shot, he was straight down and got it. Now, that could have been a player, a goalkeeper, right, who's done nothing the whole game, really.
Yep.
Yeah. He could have been so asleep and not aware that was a goal. Could have been, but he was up, he was on it, bang, job done, game over. But I don't like this situation. And who's caused this, Matt? Who has caused this? Arteta.
Yeah.
He makes these decisions. And so if you're going to do this, go with one or the other. Make it clear, right? If he's going to go with David Raya, say, you're number one, Ramsdale, sorry, mate, we gave you a chance. You haven't made the grade in his opinion, or Arteta's opinion. Yeah. And just be honest with the guy.
Yeah. I'm going to say something controversial, not that that's new to anybody, but this whole situation that we have with the goalkeepers reeks of Arteta's personality. He's not straight up with people. He's a liar. Yeah, he's a liar. And he's a coward. He's a coward. Off of what I saw last, he's a coward. And this man is trying everything he can, and he uses situations as a shield to deflect from his shortcomings. This goalkeeper situation is another example of that.
Yep. Yeah.
He spent the money on Ramsdale. Jez, we sat right here on the panel. Why are we spending X number of dollars on Ramsdale? Okay, Ramsdale come in, did all right. It's water under the bridge. Then you look up, he brings another guy in. He buys a goalkeeper. He buys two. He gets Runnison, not trusted, but Runnison and Turner, Tina Turner. They don't cut it. That's more money spent. Send them on. Then you get Raya on loan, starting goalkeeper, by the way. So immediately Ramsdale is like, well, what's going on here? He's lost. His head is turned. He's going crazy. He comes in, makes the mistake. Raya comes in. He makes a mistake. Then everybody's, it's just up and down when the whole root of the problem is the ineptitude of this manager.
You tell me, right, in any other top level club in Premier League that has this. Man City doesn't. Liverpool doesn't. Man United have bought Onana, who really is not the levels that he should be after what they bought him. He was a better keeper before he went to Man United, so something's not quite working there. Newcastle, Chelsea, right? They haven't had all these goalkeepers in the last 4 years, and they stay pretty much with the one they've got, unless they're injured, of course. That's a different story. But this just shows the unsettled setup that we have in this football club. And the only person, Matt, that didn't do that is Arteta. He calls the shots in the squad. He's in charge of that squad week in, week out. And the fact is that, I'm sure, is an underlying issue in the squad at many other positions. That players are so uncertain of what is going down that they're almost like frightened to say anything. And if you do say something, then you're going to get your ears ripped off by Arteta. And I think that is a major problem. And I think that is one of the problems, that we're not playing anywhere near the levels we were at this point of last season.
Yeah, I think you've got a section of players that are starting to second guess him as the manager. Earlier you brought that up, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, because psychologically, Jez, you come off of last season, and in your mind you would have to think, okay, we finished second, we can compete, but let's come back next year, let's do it. And you come back into this season, and you look like a shell of what you looked like last year. And you're seeing, and not only that, Jez, but you go into the first game and you're seeing Partey play right back. What does that tell your players?
Shocking, man. I mean, I just didn't understand any of this. We did a tour of the United States. Yeah.
Yep.
Lost one game, right? And Man United. And we were poor that day. Let's get it right. We were poor. But the fact is, it's quite funny when you think about it. At that game, the Man United game, you had Arsenal fans fighting Arsenal fans.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that just says to me the discontent of, were these loud-mouthy English fans that have gone over there and trying to put it on the American fans? I don't know. I mean, I've no idea. But if you're going to do a pre-season tour, right, that's when you experiment. That's when you try and mess about. And that's when you say, well, let's just try this let's try this for half an hour in the first half up against whoever they're playing. And if it don't work, then we'll switch it back to how we've been playing. But we'll give it a try. And then the next game, you say, well, let's try this in the second half then and see if this works again. And if it doesn't work, you say, well, obviously this ain't a great, it's not going to work. Let's not bother. And we go back to what we know, the tried and the trusted.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if it's worked before, Why break it? Just go with it. Improve the players that can improve that previous season setup, and let's go again. But no, this guy he likes to tinker because I think he thinks he's better than he is. You know, and that is a major problem. I think his brain. Don't get me wrong. Arteta is a clever man, right? But he's not a world beater. And he never will be, in my opinion. He's never going to be like Pep Guardiola. He's never going to be a Jurgen Klopp, right? He's never going to be a Diego Simeone or any of those ilk type managers. But he'll be a decent manager in the Championship or something like that. But he's never going to be the levels that Arsenal Football Club need. And I get called out for that, but I just said, wait and see.
Yeah, I honestly believe in my heart of hearts. I believe if Partey had not got hurt at the beginning of the season, we've been still talking about him at right back. I just think he when he locks in on something, he's going to do what he wants to do. First thing I told Lee yesterday was he's still doing the same thing that he did the last weekend with Havertz and Jorginho in midfield. We know that's chaotic, and he just chooses to do it over and over and over. A lot of this is chalked down to Jez. This man is inexperienced. He's inexperienced and he's learning on the job. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, you don't learn your craft at Arsenal Football Club.
No.
I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. A club of this statute, we don't have time for it. Other teams are moving on. It proves in the pudding. I know they lost Monday night, but Spurs, look at them. Man comes in, has the experience. He's won. They look better. Look at Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe, I don't know if you watched the whole thing the other day, but Eddie Howe went to Spain on his sabbatical after he left Bournemouth and shadowed Diego Simeone. Comes back, takes a ragtag bunch of Newcastle players, and look at him. Unai Emery. The one we got rid of, Unai Emery, he leaves. He turns his teams around. He comes back. Look at Aston Villa. Arteta comes in, no experience, no man management skills, and that's been proven by the week. And then here we are, back at square one. And what this year is, the one thing that's different in this year, Jez, from last year is that last year we were flying high. This year we're skating by. But the same reaction from the fans is still the same. Oh, man, we taking off. We doing places. We doing things. And then in that is where the problem is, Jez. It's a smoke screen. And he is the master. He's the master of doing work behind a smoke screen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just, to be honest with you, I just get fed up with this guy. I said it after the Newcastle game. I've had enough of him. I seriously had enough of the guy. He never fails to disappoint. That's him. Out of the probably a cup we had a chance of going for, the carrier bag, as I call it jokingly. But the fact of the matter is, we could have gone for that. But then, after we lost him that, and then against West Ham, where we were taken apart, and then people say, "Oh, look, if we'd beaten West Ham, we'd have drawn Liverpool."
Who cares? It is what it is. You play them. That's part of being in the cup.
They're not exactly ripping up trees right now, are they? Let's get it. So, on a two-legged game, on that game, it's what it used to be two. Yes, would we have been away? I can't remember which way the draw went. Yeah, we would have been away. There's every chance. If you set your team up right, then there's every chance. If he had set the team up, if we had got through and gone to Liverpool, right, and we had the team, And we've started off like we did at Liverpool last year, 2-0 up, cruising it. And then it all went down the pan. You know, we know what Xhaka did. We got the Anfield crowd back up, and that was the end of that. But you can never say before a game, if you're going to play it, we got them. You still got to play them. You still got to turn up. Even like when we were getting battered all the time by Man City, you got to go and give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
Or you might just give up the whole thing and say, "Oh, forget it then."
Yeah, we put more. Our fan base was putting more emphasis on the Charity Shield than they were on the actual cup, which is like you said, Charity Shield. That's just, and we got into that by default. I mean, we fell into that, and so it's just like I don't understand where some of our fan base goes, man. It's like the mentality, and me and you talk about this a lot, but I just don't understand how the standards of his dropped so far low. I remember, to what you just said, was it 06 we played Liverpool in the FA Cup? We had to go there and we beat them there. I mean, so when you're in a cup, I mean, you just make the most of it, man. It doesn't matter. It's there to be won, and I'm like you. I'm really pissed off that we got put out of that cup, because anything that City's not involved in, you should be going at 100%. But also, Jez, these trophies outside of the FA Cup that we won up under Wenger and the one under this clown, we hadn't had any other major trophy come into this club since we moved to the Emirates.
Nope.
Not one.
Nope.
And they told us they turned Highbury into flats for us to move over to where we are now. They said we were going to compete. At one point, we're 20 years. We're coming up on almost to what was it, 05? We're damn near on top of the anniversary from leaving Highbury. And we hadn't sniffed the European final since we left.
Nope.
Outside of Europa League. I know somebody coming to chat. Are you in there, Europa League? Now, I'm talking Champions League. I mean, we have got some soul. This football club has some soul searching to do, but the problem is it doesn't have a soul.
Well, I totally agree with you on that one. I the times I've been to the Emirates, I just find the atmosphere there is so.
They tell me it's a library. Jed. That's what I've heard is a library.
Well, you listened to it the other night against Sevilla. It was dead. Even the commentary said it's quiet. I mean, people used to call Highbury the Highbury Library. Well, it was a lot more, how can I put, interactive than I've seen at the Emirates. The only time I've ever seen anything really of any levels was Arsenal Tottenham. The last Arsenal Tottenham I went to at the Emirates. That was a few years ago.
Yeah.
But the problem is this. I do know where I want to apportion the blame, but the problem is it's so rife in all factors now. Social media has caused so many issues, not in just Arsenal,
just in general.
Arsenal, man, it's Man United, it's Tottenham, it's Chelsea, it's Liverpool. There's so many of these people that have big channels for their individual clubs, right? They get young people to follow and listen, and fair play. Yeah, great. But when you talk absolute bollocks, those kids who are, let's say, 13, 14, who've never seen anything major won outside of an FA Cup like Arsenal, they'll go along with it. Because that's all they know.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they know. They haven't seen the glory days. They've never seen Arsenal win the Premier League, right? And so they go along with it, and they'll say, "Oh, well, this is the way it's got to be." And then on Twitter, they'll be following somebody who's got a lot of followers, and if that person gets criticised for talking crap, they're straight on to that person.
Yeah.
It's like they're sheep.
Yep.
They're all sheep, and they all follow that narrative because that's what they're being led to believe. And that's that is such a sad thing in this modern society. It's not just football. It's all walks of life and many other things. Will it ever get back to the days of what it once was? I don't know. I really, really don't know, because I think the problem is once you get certain people involved, big channels, and I'm talking big channels, infiltrated into the club. Probably, I believe that one channel is being helped by Arsenal to put out the fake negativity because it brings in followers, watchers, whatever. Yeah. They don't care. They don't care. I'm sorry. You only got to watch some of these people, man, when they're talking. They don't believe what they're saying.
It's COINTEL Pro. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But the thing is, it can only last for such a certain amount of time where people suddenly think or realise this is not right. It's not going down the right road, and they will start to turn. And the only time it will start to turn is when Arsenal start playing crap. We're out of the Champions League. We're not in the Premier League. Then the fans will turn on Arteta.
Yeah. Either that or if Spurs finish above us this year. I think people will start questioning if that happens this year, or if they're in a better situation than we were last year. Yeah, you won't get everybody, but you get about 15-20%. Start looking around. Yeah. Brother, we got Burnley on Saturday. What's your score prediction? I think I'm going to go with Arsenal 3-1. Now, where the 3 goals are coming from, I wouldn't be able to put any money on it, but I think we got 3 goals there.
I'm going to go Arsenal 3-0.
Okay.
I just don't think Burnley. The only time Burnley are going to score if they catch us on the break. Their strike force is even worse than Arsenal's. Let's get it right.
I think they were 8 and 29 or something on that line. I saw it was something wild. I was like, wow.
Or it could be the fact that Arsenal go big and absolutely batter them.
Yeah.
Could be, it could be a big score. Does depend on Arteta's if he gets his team set up right. There's an opportunity there for Arsenal to actually take Burnley apart. But will he? Probably not. He'll probably go with the same midfield. He won't listen to me. I'm going Rice. I just said it. I can't remember now. I can't remember their bloody names. Rice and
Martinelli.
No, Rice and oh God, Zinchenko. And ESR. Give ESR. Give him a go.
Yeah,
he can do. He can cause damage. Stick Havertz up front, out of the way, no dramas. Yeah, Martinelli. I'm not sure. Oh well, if Saka's not fit, then rest him up because we can't afford to have that, and then keep him out of the England squad.
He needs to play ESR because if he plans on moving him on to sell him, we need him in the shop window. We need to try to get a little value for him there. So he really needs to play him. It is a shame how he's been done, considering that was the guy that kept him in his job, and that's unfortunate. Jez, where can the people find you at, good brother?
Yeah, Arsenal history and more, man.
What you got coming down the pipe?
Tomorrow night, well, a little bit later, I'm on with Tottenham away with TJ. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, I'm doing part 1 of some more of my Arsenal home and away journeys, stories with the firms, what went on. Some of them are funny, some are really funny. And one of the main topics will be a very, very unusual story about the 01-02 FA Cup final in Cardiff when the new Wembley, as we see it today, was being rebuilt. And it's quite an unusual story, actually. And yeah, that's quite a good one. So yeah, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. That is
Sweet. And I will be on tomorrow with the American Idiots at 4 p.m. I'll be on with them, and then I will not be on with SLB this weekend, but I'll be back next week with them. And Tuesday, I'll be joining Jez and Kenny over on his channel. So yep, we'll be discussing this weekend. Hopefully, it'll be another win as we ready to go into the international break of irrelevance, as I call it. And we'll go from there. Jez, it's always good seeing you, brother. Appreciate you for taking out some time this evening to hop over, man.
Pleasure, man. Always, you know that.
Yep, and it's been a while, but it was good to see you, brother. Everybody in the chat, much love. Thank you all for coming through. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Head on over there to follow Arsenal history and more. Get some of that good cooking, as we say down here. And we are headed out of here. Y'all have a good night. Peace.